It's hard to understand.
It is hard to understand.
It really Our mind is
Our mind can't understand what our mind is.
It's separate from the brain, yet inseparable.
Keeping a healthy mind. It's Hunt for Wellness, episode number 35. Hello, welcome to Hunt for Wellness. This is episode number 35. I am John Hunt.
And I am Christy Hunt.
And this is the show where we help you live your best life, mind, body, and spirit. And this episode of Hunt for Wellness is brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines that produce great water for great wellness. Go find out everything you need to know about water distillers at waterdistillers.com. All right. So today, last time we talked about having a healthy spirit, right?
Yes.
And like the tagline of our show is living your best life, mind, body, and spirit. So today we're going to talk about having a healthy mind, right?
Yes, keeping a healthy mind.
Or keeping a healthy mind.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So I think we need to start by kind of defining what the mind is, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, because can be to some people kind of a nebulous concept.
It's hard to understand.
It is hard to understand.
It really Our mind is
Our mind can't understand what our mind is. That's a whole other episode. But so what is the mind?
Well, the mind is not the brain.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's not the brain.
Yeah.
It's separate from the brain, yet inseparable.
Okay. So kind of like peanut butter and jelly?
No, like a lock and key.
Like a lock and key. Okay.
Yeah. Because the lock is useless without the key.
True.
And a key is useless without the lock. So they need each other.
They need each other, but they're two different things.
They're two different things.
But they only work
together.
when they work together.
Right.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
Like a person who's dead doesn't have a mind.
Right. I don't think they have a brain either, do they? I think their brain is dead. I don't know if that's a good example or not, but,
you just can't separate the two.
Right,
okay.
right.
Even though a lock and key can be separated, the point is they're useless separately.
Right. Well, and we also hear a lot of there's a lot of different parts of the mind, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure.
So a bunch of this material that I'm taking is from Caroline Leaf, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. And so I just wanted to
let's link to that book in the show notes.
Yeah. Such a good book. And you should really get the book and read it.
Yes.
You can probably get it at the library, but it's very helpful. And so Caroline says the mind uses the brain and the mind changes the brain. And there's no conscious experience without the brain, but our experience can't be reduced to just brain activity.
Yeah. Well, the brain also is kind of like a switch box, too, because the brain then can tell other parts of your body to do something, right?
Yeah.
If they need to.
And our mind is really energy. That it generates energy through thinking, feeling, and choosing.
Okay. I know that from the book.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we generate that energy with our mind in action 24/7. And the brain, the physical brain, responds to the person's thinking, feeling, and choosing.
Okay.
And those always go together.
Yeah.
So you've got your conscious mind, your non-conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your unconscious mind.
Okay, well, what are the differences between those? Because
guess what the conscious mind is?
That's what you're conscious of. That's what that's what's making me guess what the conscious mind is. Because my mind is conscious that I'm guessing what the conscious mind is. Okay,
and you're awake.
Yes.
You're awake,
mm-hmm.
and you can generally only focus on one thing or what we can pay attention to. We think we can focus on a whole bunch of things. But anyways.
Especially guys.
Yeah. And then the non-conscious mind is awake and working 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And she says it's huge and infinite.
But that's different than the subconscious mind.
the subconscious mind is between those two,
Okay.
between the conscious and the non-conscious, and it's like what's on the tip of your tongue. You know, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite remember.
Right. And or you're thinking about it, but not directly.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
just below the surface.
Just below the surface, right.
And then the unconscious mind is when you're like knocked out or have an anesthetic.
Yeah. Put under.
So, yes.
But not when
yes.
you're sleeping.
No.
Okay.
No. Then the non-conscious mind is working
Awesome.
and just going and organizing and responding to what's happened during the day and things like that.
So are we going to learn how all these work together?
Well, they're always working, but the brain is basically a responder. So the brain is responding. It's an extremely complex neuroresponder, she says.
Okay.
Every time your mind is stimulated, the brain responds in different ways, neurochemically, electromagnetically, genetically. And every time we think, feel, and respond, our brain is changing. You know?
And it's also kind of like that switch. It's sending out neuropulses or whatever they are, right?
It's changing with every experience we have. And so we are actually the architect of our own brains. So we can change our brains. We can change our mind and change our brains.
That's where like the power of positive thinking comes in and some things like that, where people are trying to get their mind to think something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to change their mind and change their brain.
Or when you're trying to change someone else's mind. You know, you want hamburgers for dinner and someone else wants whatever their mind is telling them, and you're not only telling them, you're trying to change their mind.
You are trying to change their mind.
Yeah, because their mind is set on it. We get our mind set on something too, right?
Yes.
Boy, all these like catchphrases are coming up here and starting to make a little more sense.
So the mind is made up of trillions and trillions of thoughts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How about when your mind is racing? Is it I mean, isn't that kind of the feeling you get when you're thinking about so many things? Your mind is just going so fast, it's hard to do anything.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly is happening at that point.
I don't either, but trillions is a big number.
It is.
Okay.
So each thought is built into your brain with that think, feel, and choose. So they always go together. When you think something, you feel something, and you choose something.
Okay.
You might choose not to do something, but that's a choosing.
Yep.
You know? So, and those thoughts look like trees in the brain. So, we have a lot of trees in our brains.
So you got the little trunk of the tree and branches and
Yes.
and leaves.
She goes really into that, and we're going to talk about the NeuroCycle that we've been using.
Yes.
A little bit later, but she teaches us more about that in that part. But the memories, every thought has memories, and you have. Think of it as the memories as pie, P-I-E, like a pie crust and a pie filling and the whipped cream on top. 3 parts to the pie. So P is physical memories. Those are the sensations that we feel when a thought happened.
Yeah.
You can have the sensation. And those thoughts are coupled with emotions and are stored in the cells of our body. And then we can have informational memories like details, facts, data, associations. And then we can have emotional memories associated with the informational memories. So P-I-E, physical, informational and emotional memories that are all in every thought.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird, but
it's complex.
This is why the mind is a complex thing, you know?
Yes. And Caroline Leaf is a neuroscientist, and she's been working on this stuff for over 30 years. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn. And
this is not a course on brains and minds, because it would be...
It's just a quick summary.
Yeah. Trying to get us set up for that, because really what the goal is to help people figure out how to nurture and keep a good mind. Because
Yeah.
when you have a great mind, or when your mind is at peace, so to speak, you can feel better, do better.
Yes.
I mean, that's the kind of wellness that we're trying to pursue.
Yes. And so just a little bit more on the thoughts. The thoughts are embedded memories stored physically in the brain as energy vibrations in protein supercomputers called tubulin in the dendrites of our neurons. So
My
a lot of people
goodness.
might have heard of dendrites. Had you heard of dendrites?
No, I haven't. But
Had you heard of neurons?
neurons, I have. Yes.
Okay. So a dendrite is part of a neuron.
Okay.
So it's proteins in the dendrites of your neurons. And so literally the thoughts are stored there. Those memories with their, the thoughts with the memories are stored in the dendrites. And as we think, feel, and choose, we grow more dendrites.
They grow.
Yes.
Okay.
With each new thought and memory. And it reconceptualizes, it changes, it's always changing. That's why we don't have a healthy mind. We keep one
Yeah.
because it keeps changing. It's like keeping your house.
Well, also, it's like older people doing crossword puzzles or whatever. You kind of do a little brain and mind stimulation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that helps you grow inside.
Yes. Learning, stimulating your mind, reading, writing, all those are very good for your brain. And help calm your brain, organize your brain, or your mind, I should say. So the mind, thoughts with their embedded memories are stored in the non-conscious mind as an energy field. I don't know. It's
You're
weird.
starting to lose me.
It's weird.
It's getting very scientific here.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, also thoughts are with those memories are stored in the cells of our body.
Okay.
And so those are called cellular memories. So let's move along to what is a healthy mind or a healthful mind?
Yeah, because that's what we're trying to pursue.
Yeah, because that's what we want.
Right.
So when you think about a healthy mind, what do you think about?
Well, I think about focus
Yeah.
and calm and just balanced, just a good, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Of course, but it's also, not a million thoughts racing around,
Right.
even though there's trillions, but some order to your thought.
Yes. Yes. You can think clearly. You can respond.
Yeah. You can make good decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. With a clear mind.
Right. Because you can think through whatever you're responding to and how you should make a decision, and it's a good decision. And if it wasn't the perfect decision, you can also change your mind, and you've got new data, and you can make another decision.
Yeah, right. And also just being able to communicate clearly. You're not babbling and saying nonsense.
Yes.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense. The other people are engaged, and it's making sense to them.
Right. It's making sense to both of you.
Yeah.
that are
How do we get that
communicating.
mind? Or keep it?
Yeah, that is good. Well, let's just talk about what is a stressed mind. Kind of what's the opposite of that?
Yes.
And what do you think that would be?
Chaos is the first word that comes into my mind.
Anxious?
Anxious. Yeah. Just,
Worried?
the foggy mind. Oh, I have mind fog. We've heard that term
Yes.
before, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like, you can't see very clearly.
Well, one time I had to do a deposition for a situation, and I was so scared. I was so nervous. I just didn't really know much about the whole thing. And so they said, okay, state your name and state your address. And I could not remember my address.
Oh boy.
I was my
You're so stressed.
brain
Yeah.
froze. I couldn't think.
Ooh.
I couldn't think because I was so stressed.
Wow.
Yeah. It was shocking. It was shocking to me.
Yeah. I hope you won that lawsuit.
So anyways, a brain that is stressed does not work well.
Yeah.
And you can't think well, you can't process well, you can't respond well. And So that's what a stressed mind is. We don't want to have that.
We don't want that. How do we go from a stressed mind to a peaceful?
And sometimes things like that can happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was so stressed I couldn't think of my address. And there's things that we can do to make our minds more calm and peaceful so that we can make decisions, so that we can communicate clearly and think about things that we need to think about.
Yep. Okay.
So,
let's talk about it. This is like the meat of the idea here.
So one thing I think when you're in that tough situation is to take some deep breaths.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Slow
she talks
down your
about that
breathing.
in her book as well.
Yes.
Yeah. The think, feel, choose. And 7 breaths in and 11 out.
Yep. There's different breathing
exercises.
techniques. Yes.
And it is amazing how it does kind of calm you.
It calms you, and it calms your mind and your brain.
Yeah.
So that you can think. So one is just taking a break and breathing.
Yeah, and probably getting more oxygen in your system. That also has got to help too.
Yes. And I think just in general, good self-care.
Yes. We have an episode on that. I think it's episode number 17 on just self-care and how important it is and how you actually achieve it. So we'll link to that in the show notes as well, too, because self-care is something, you hear the term a lot now, but I think because we're in crazy times is when you really need it more.
Yes.
Right?
So like eating healthy foods.
Exercising.
Yes. Getting plenty of sleep.
Very basic things, but things that if we don't do, our body can't function well.
Yeah, and take a break when you need it. One thing she talks about in her book, The Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, is thinker moments, which I actually would think of them as non-thinking moments because it's time to actually just let your mind flow and rest and daydream or play or laugh or not focus in on something. So that's important too. But I think another thing that we can actively do to help our mind be at peace and keeping a healthy mind is to question ourselves, question the thoughts that we're thinking.
Right. Another thing from her book, she talks a lot about toxic thoughts and how, we have bad self-talk. But there's ways to get around that and get over that through using the NeuroCycle, which is a 21-day program, but 6 cycles of 21 days. And
three cycles.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3 cycles of 21 days, right? Yeah.
There's a total of 63 days.
63 days, yeah.
To change a toxic thought.
Yeah.
And reconceptualize it. Which is fantastic. And we've been doing this for a while now, this past year.
Yep.
It is very helpful in reconceptualizing a toxic thought.
Turning something around from negative to positive.
Yes.
And
something that's kind of a habit,
a
thought habit that is not helpful.
Well, in the self-help industry and personal development, they're using things like that, exercises, to get your mind thinking different ways so you can achieve more. You can achieve more by getting your mind right, whether that's healthy or peace or calm or whatever. But it is, a conflicted mind cannot help you achieve anything.
You can't move forward.
Yeah.
And one of the toxic thoughts I was reconceptualizing was, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That was one of the thoughts that just happened to me a lot. And it would stop me from doing things. And I'm like, this is not good.
Right.
And so I was able to reconceptualize that and help me move forward. So, and we don't necessarily even know where these thoughts came from.
Right.
But at one time we've believed them.
Right. Now, this wouldn't be a show without talking about maybe some natural ways, like essential oils, maybe. Since we're brand partners for Young Living Essential Oils. And some of the supplements even that you can use to help with your mind, help you keep a good mind.
Yes.
What do we got?
So Mindwise is one of the supplements that helps keep our mind healthy, our brain really healthy. And so just the oil supplements that are in there just help your brain to work better. There's another essential oil called Brain Power that has frankincense in it that's really good for the brain, the neurology of the body, to help it function better, tone it up. And so just putting that on the back of the head, breathing it in every day.
We've talked before about lemon essential oil as one that you can diffuse or even just, take in, smell it in or whatever, or put a drop of the Vitality lemon essential oil in your water, and that will help you focus as well.
Yes. There's been research done on that people do better on tests when they're smelling, diffusing lemon essential oil.
Yeah, and that's a simple one.
Very simple.
Yeah, right.
Very simple to do. And a peppermint, it like wakes you up.
Yeah. It probably gets more of that oxygen in your system and helps you.
So putting that behind your ears, if you're feeling sluggish or if you're sitting in church and falling asleep or, or in a lecture or something, you need a boost. Breathing it in is really good. Just helps you think clearer. And when you breathe it in, it opens up your airways.
Right.
You just feel like, whew. I can breathe better.
That's good. We should mention that if you would like to find out more about, the essential oils or the supplements or things that can help with keeping a better mind going, just head on over to Hunt4Wellness.com and click the blue connect button. We'll have our discovery call. It's free, 15-minute call. Kind of just point you in the right direction on whatever, might work for you. It might be something in the self-care realm, where, maybe you need some self-care and we can direct you there. And maybe it's some of these products we talked about with the mind, but Hunt4Wellness.com, just go over there and check it out and click the connect button and we'll set something up with you. How about before we go, any other last minute thoughts or ideas on, keeping that mind well?
Well, just being careful what you let in your mind.
Yes.
And so, the Bible talks about questions we should be asking ourselves about what we're bringing in and what we're thinking. Is this true? Is this honorable? Is this just? Is it pure? Is it lovely? Is it commendable, excellent, worthy of praise? We're supposed to think about those things. And those are going to build up our mind, our brain, our body, our spirit. And so what are we listening to? What books are we reading? What music are we listening to? What online material are we taking in? What kind of news? Even sometimes, news is typically negative. It's like sometimes you don't need to watch or listen to very much news. You can listen to just a little bit and then it's time to turn it off. Your body will know.
Yes.
Like, you know what? I've had enough. I can't take it. It's bringing me down.
Yeah.
Then it's time to turn it off.
Yes.
And take a break. And then just being thankful.
Yes.
Being thankful for everything that you have. And, writing, reading, researching, all those are really good for your brain.
Yeah. And good for your self-care.
Yeah,
totally.
Totally. And she talks about reading balances your brain. It's like, that's why I always want to read before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Because it balances my brain. I didn't know that that's exactly what I was doing, but it does.
Yeah.
And so I just feel better when I read before I go to sleep.
Yeah. Great. Well, and it probably makes you sleep better too, right?
Yeah. And then we read to little children.
Right.
We read to them before they go to bed.
Yeah.
To help balance their brains.
Nice.
Isn't that great? Little things that we've already built in that we didn't know how it's helping us.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, so last time we talked about the healthy spirit. We talked about keeping a good mind. If we're going to talk about mind, body, and spirit, we should talk about the body next time.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll tease you for that. That's our next episode. This episode brought to you by waterdistillers.com. Great machines that produce great water for great wellness. Head over to waterdistillers.com. Again, if you want to connect with us for that free 15-minute discovery call, go over to hunt4wellness.com, click the blue connect button, and we would love to schedule a 15-minute free discovery call with you, talk about your wellness goals and get you going in the right direction. And then again, come back on our next episode of Hunt for Wellness.